This is a typical example that God is good all the time. There is this say that said, 99 days for the thief and 1 day is for the owner. So I think today is our own day. Today is our own day. Guys, did you see those text messages that actually went live? Did you see it? That is getting a lot of them freak out. A lot of them freak out. Now they are looking for ways to be able to cover up their mess. But at the end of the day, God is good all the time, guys. Anyways, if you're not aware, let me go ahead and roll out the clips I have for you guys. Listen, watch from beginning to the end. Watch in details and let me know what you think in the comment section. Credit belongs to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we're having at today's episode. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, like this video, drop me your comments, and lastly, do not forget to share. And guys, with that being said, let's dive right into this video so that you guys can actually see these particular clips and let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised.
Tuesday, October 14th, an article came out today in Politico. Starts off with a 3-word quote. I love, if I say that word, this video will get taken down, the last name of the German chancellor from the mid-1930s to the mid-1940s. Leaked messages expose young Republicans' racist chats. Thousands of private messages revealed young GOP leaders joking about gas chambers, slavery, and rape. But please, tell me more about Antifa. Some of these text messages are, everyone that votes no is going to a gas chamber. When do we bring that side out? Also, we are officially under consideration for a Trump endorsement. I'm ready to watch people burn now. I'd go to the zoo if I wanted to watch monkeys play ball. You're giving nationals too much credit and expecting the Jew to be honest. Great. I love that same name. Are you going to do whatever it takes? If we ever had a leak of this chat, we would be cooked for real. Boom, they're dead. They love the watermelon people. Leaders of young Republican groups throughout the country worried what would happen if their Telegram chat ever got leaked, but they kept typing anyway. They referred to black people as monkeys and the watermelon people and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. They talked about raping their enemies and driving them to suicide, and lauded Republicans who they believed still support slavery. William Hendricks, the Kansas Young Republicans vice chair, used the N-word and variations of a racial slur more than a dozen times in the chat. Bobby Walker, the vice chair of the New York State Young Republicans at the time, referred to rape as epic. Peter Giunta, who at the time was chair of the same organization, wrote in a message he sent in June that, quote, everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber. He was referring to an upcoming vote on whether he should become chair of the Young Republican National Federation, the GOP's 15,000 member political organization for Republicans between 18 and 40 years old. He continued, I'm going to create some of the greatest physiological torture methods known to man. We only want true believers. 2 members of the chat responded, when do we start bullying, dude? If they vote for us, why would they be gassed? When do we bring this side out? We only want true believers. Can we fix the showers? Gas chambers don't fit the aesthetic. I'm ready to watch people burn now. We got to pretend that we like them. Hey, come on in, take a nice shower and relax. Boom, they're dead. Texts and reactions attributed to Peter Giunta, Bobby Walker, Ann K. Katie, Joe Maligno, Rachel Hope, and Alex Dwyer. Joe Maligno, who previously identified himself as the general counsel for the New York State Republicans, was the one who wrote about fixing the showers. The exchange is part of a trove of Telegram chats obtained by Politico and spanning more than 7 months of messages among young Republican leaders in New York, Kansas, Arizona, and Vermont. The chat offers an unfiltered look at how a new generation of GOP activists talk when they think no one is listening. Since Politico began making inquiries, one member of the group chat is no longer employed at their job, and another's job offer was rescinded. Prominent New York Republicans, including Elise Stefanik and State Senate Minority Leader Rob Ort, have denounced the chat. Oh, that's nice. They've denounced the chat. And festering resentments among young Republicans have now turned into public recriminations, including allegations of character assassination and extortion. The 2,900 pages of chats shared among dozen millennial and Gen Z Republicans between early July and mid-August chronicle their campaign to seize control of the National Young Republican Organization on a hardline pro-Donald Trump platform. Racist, anti-Semitic, Holocaust-loving, pro-Donald Trump platform. Many of the chat members already work inside government or party politics, and one of them serves as a state senator. Together, the messages reveal a culture where racist, anti-Semitic, and violent rhetoric circulate freely, and where the Trump-era loosening of political norms has made such talk feel less taboo among those positioning themselves as the party's next leaders. The more the political atmosphere is open and liberating, like it has been with the emergence of Trump and a more right-wing GOP even before him, it opens up young people and older people to telling racist jokes, making racist commentaries in private and in public, said Joe Fegan, a Texas A&M sociology professor who has studied racism for the last 60 years. He's also concerned the words would be applied to public policy. It's chilling, of course, because they will act on these views. The dynamic of easy racism and casual cruelty played out often in dark, vivid fashion inside the chats, where campaign talk and party gossip blurred into streams of slurs and violent fantasies. And then there's a picture of Peter Giunta in the article, and he's a balding fat guy. Yeah. The group chat members spoke freely about the pressure to cow to Trump, to avoid being called a rhino, the love of Nazis within their party's right wing, and the president's alleged work to suppress documents related to wealthy financier Jeffrey Epstein's child sex crimes. Trump's too busy burning the Epstein files, said Alex Dwyer, chair of the Kansas Young Republicans. Dwyer declined to comment. Maligno and Hendricks did not return requests for comment, but some involved in the chat did respond publicly. Peter Giunta claimed the release of the chat as part of a highly coordinated year-long character assassination led by Gavin Wax and the New York City Young Republican Club, an allusion to a once obscure internecine war that has now spilled out into the open. He said the following: "These logs were sourced by way of extortion and provided to Politico by the very same people conspiring against me," said Peter Giunta. "What's most disheartening is that despite my unwavering support for President Trump since 2016, rogue members of his administration, including Gavin Wax, have participated in this conspiracy to ruin me publicly simply because I challenged them privately." Notice he did not deny saying any of the things that were attributed to him in the group chat. So, these are the young Republicans. Openly racist, anti-Semitic, pro-Holocaust for their political opponents. These are today's young Republicans. The next generation. Amazing.
We have some bombshell news right now. Politico just dropped an exclusive article showing text messages between young Republican leaders from across the country praising Hitler, using the N-word dozens of times, making racist, xenophobic, and absolutely abhorrent remarks over Telegram, hoping that these messages would never see the light of day. Politico just dropped several months worth of Telegram messages from leaders, young Republican leaders in New York, Kansas, Arizona, and Vermont. I encourage you to go read all of these messages on Politico's website because it's truly bombshell and stunning. And it shows how young Republicans are interacting with one another behind the scenes right now, in an era where the Trump White House has really enabled some of the worst language and actions we've seen. They joke about the gas chambers, slavery, rape, and more, all while trying to court the White House's endorsement, Trump's endorsement in a Republican Party race. Spread the word. People need to see this. Follow along for all the news you need to know about, and go check out Politico's story right now.
The so-called leak of those racist texts from young conservative leaders isn't a leak because it's literally confirmation of what black people have been saying for decades. Racism isn't some fringe issue in the Republican Party. It's part of the party's DNA, especially after the party switch in the 1960s. And what makes this even worse is that these young white men are the same demographic that Democrats are constantly told that they need to reach out to. You know, that's exactly the type of crowd that the Un-F America tour and other bridge building nonsense tries to appeal to. But you can't meet in the middle with people who openly dehumanize entire communities. This is the culture that MAGA and people like Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump, J.D. Vance have created. A party built on hate, fear, and white fragility.
Imagine you work for Donald Trump and his administration, and you get caught by Politico in what you thought was a private online group chat with people saying things like, "I love Hitler," and saying it's a mistake to, quote, "expect the Jew to be honest," end quote, along with multiple racist phrases, as well as talking about wanting to see people, quote, "going to the gas chamber," end quote, which provokes the reply, quote, "I'm ready to watch people burn now." Imagine what would happen to someone working in the Trump administration who's in group chats like that. What would you do if you were that Republican guy and Politico called you before publishing their investigative report about the "I love Hitler" chat group that you're in? What would you say to Politico? He declined to comment, and he still has his job in the Trump administration. The Politico article came out today at 1:15 p.m., and Donald Trump has taken no action against the guy working for him who's in the "I love Hitler" chat. Not one Republican has said one word yet objecting to a group of young Republicans in a group chat saying, "I love Hitler." No Republican has a problem with that, not one. Politico published their report today under the headline, "I love Hitler, leaked messages expose young Republicans' racist chat." Politico reports leaders of young Republican groups throughout the country worried what would happen if their Telegram chat ever got leaked, but they kept typing anyway. They referred to black people as monkeys and the watermelon people, and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. They talked about raping their enemies and driving them to suicide, and lauded Republicans who they believed support slavery. The exchange is part of a trove of Telegram chats obtained by Politico and spanning more than 7 months of messages among young Republican leaders in New York, Kansas, Arizona, and Vermont. The chat offers an unfiltered look at how a new generation of GOP activists talk when they think no one is listening. The group chat members spoke freely about the pressure to cow to Trump to avoid being called a rhino, the love of Nazis within their party's right wing, and the president's alleged work to suppress documents related to wealthy financier Jeffrey Epstein's child sex crimes. Trump's too busy burning the Epstein files, Alex Dwyer, the chair of the Kansas Young Republicans, wrote in one instance. At least one person in the Telegram chat works in the Trump administration, Michael Bartels, who, according to his LinkedIn account, serves as a senior advisor in the Office of General Counsel within the U.S. Small Business Administration. Bartels did not have much to say in the chat, but he didn't offer any pushback against the offensive rhetoric in it either. He declined to comment. And tonight, Michael Bartels still has his job working for Donald Trump and working for J.D. Vance because participating in an I Love Hitler group chat is apparently not a reason for Donald Trump to fire you. Donald Trump is eagerly trying to fire federal workers these days, not one of whom has said, I love Hitler. Elon Musk and Donald Trump this year have fired thousands of federal workers, but they're keeping the guy in the I love Hitler chat. They don't want to lose him. Michael Bartels. Michael Bartels declined to comment to Politico after he got caught in the I love Hitler chat at the same time that Donald Trump falsely claims to be trying to purify the universities of America by cleansing any trace of anti-Semitism in the student body of those institutions or the faculty. And they have never found an I Love Hitler group chat at any one of those universities. Donald Trump has never found anything like that. Donald Trump has never found anything like the poison that someone in his own administration is trafficking in. After Politico's stunning expose of the virulent racism and anti-Semitism among the leaders of young Republicans, old Republican Donald Trump was not angry at any one of them. He wasn't angry at the I Love Hitler guy. He wasn't angry at the guy who said the thing about the watermelon people. He wasn't angry at the guy who said, I'm ready to watch people burn now in gas chambers. But the old Republican Donald Trump was very angry at the front-running candidate for mayor of New York City who has never said, I love Hitler, who has never said anything like the vicious poison that so delights the leaders of young Republicans. Donald Trump falsely accused the front-running candidate for mayor of New York City today of being a communist.
He's a communist. He's not a socialist, by the way. There's a big difference. He's a communist. He's down and dirty. He's a communist.
Which should have provoked the question, Mr. President, what is a communist? Donald Trump obviously has no idea because he also said, these are his words, quote, I mean communist policies, which is proven for thousands of years doesn't work, you know? Those are his words. The question he will never be asked by the almost entirely compliant White House press corps is, who invented communism thousands of years ago, according to you? Communism is just a generation or two older than Donald Trump. But he obviously doesn't know that. He just knows that communists in American political usage is a very bad word. It's the worst thing you can be politically in the United States, historically, and so that's why Donald Trump throws it around. Like the word tariff, he has no idea what it means. And so Donald Trump spent the day angry at all sorts of people, as he does every day, but not even slightly bothered by Michael Bartels, the guy who works for Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and was caught in the I Love Hitler group chat. George Stephanopoulos has never said, I love Hitler, but Donald Trump is very angry at George.
I don't take questions from ABC Fake News. After what you did with Stephanopoulos to the Vice President of the United States, I don't take questions from ABC Fake News. Brian, go ahead.
So that's Donald Trump drawing attention once again to the persistence of George Stephanopoulos on Sunday in trying to get the Vice President of the United States to answer a very simple question. Did Donald Trump's so-called border czar, Tom Homan, take $50,000 in cash in a paper bag from undercover FBI agents who recorded a secret video of Tom Homan taking that money last year? Under George Stephanopoulos' relentless questioning about the $50,000 in cash, the vice president was forced to finally admit he doesn't know if Donald Trump's border czar accepted the $50,000.
I'm asking you, did he accept the $50,000 that was caught on the surveillance tape? Did he accept that $50,000 or not?
George, I don't know what you're talking about. Did he accept $50,000 for what?
He was recorded on an audio tape in September 2024, an FBI surveillance tape, accepting $50,000 in cash. Did he keep that money?
Accepting $50,000 for doing what, George? I'm not even sure I understand the question. Is it illegal to take a payment for doing services? The FBI has not prosecuted him. I've never seen any evidence that he's engaged in criminal wrongdoing. Nobody has accused Tom of violating a crime, even the far left media like yourself. So I'm actually not sure what the precise question is. Did he accept $50,000? Honestly, George, I don't know the answer to that question.
While you were just listening to the vice president, I was just handed breaking news from Kansas. On the Kansas Reflector, on Tuesday, the chairman of the Kansas Republican Party said the Politico article disclosing the commentary prompted immediate deactivation of the Kansas Young Republican organization. So there's one Republican. There's one Republican in America, the chair of the Kansas Republican Party, who said, we can't tolerate this. We absolutely can't tolerate this. But nothing from Donald Trump, absolute silence from Donald Trump, and absolute silence from Vice President Vance about young Republicans in an I Love Hitler group chat.
Politico just dropped an exclusive article showing text messages between young Republicans.
You see, this is the type of problem with the Republican Party today. This is what you guys inspire. You inspire this type of behavior to be the worst of the worst, to say some of the most vile things. You see, you like to think that using your freedom of speech means that you can spew whatever hatred you want. Being racist, homophobic, transphobic, xenophobic, it's not a difference of opinion. Being a piece of shit is not just a difference of opinion. You see, you've got these guys out there saying things that Hitler would support, that he would say. You voted for the guy who used the same type of language as him. This is what your party inspires. This is what your party inspires. For people to literally say the worst things possible and still have you all believing that they're Christian folk. This is what your party inspires. Hatred, violence, racism, misogynistic, simply put, asshole behavior. If you need me to sum it up with one word, asshole. This is what your party is inspiring. This is what happens when you endorse a guy like Donald Trump. who says some of the worst things out there, and nobody calls him out for it. Do you know what happens? Do you know what happens? That inspires people. It shows them, I just have to be hateful, racist, a jerk, a liar, a cheater, a thief. Oh, and that'll get me votes. That'll get me popularized. This is what happens when you just empower that, when you allow that type of behavior to be okay. This is what worries me, okay? Donald Trump is bad. Yes, absolutely. Don't get me wrong. But have you ever thought about the scary thought that someone could take it even further than him? Don't think it's not possible. Do not think that there is nobody that could ever be worse than Trump. Someone could always be worse than Trump. That is why this shit has to get stomped down, crushed, to be known that this is not okay. Which is why when I would think about how protesting, I don't know how much of a difference it can make. Right now in this timeline, we can't make much of a difference. But I had an epiphany just now. I think that's the right word. Is the fact of this. We can't stop what's happening right now. We can't. We cannot stop them right now from what is happening. We are working towards a future to stopping that. We are working towards that. And we are showing them right here, right now, with the protest like No King's Day coming up this Saturday, which again, please sign up for, find a location where you can. But we are showing them, hey, we don't want this shit. We don't want this shit. This, I truly do believe. And call me optimistic if you want to, but I do think that this is the fucking kick in the ass that unfortunately people needed to wake up and realize Republicans don't give a fuck about us. They keep lying to your fucking faces. They have the House, they have the Senate, they have the presidency, and they continue to lie to all of you and say, oh, Democrats closed the government. They want to give the, Affordable Care Act to illegals. It's like, no, we want to continue the Affordable Care Act for people who are under that qualification for it. Non-documented migrants cannot collect any benefits for it. But no, don't believe that. No. And thankfully, many people are actually kind of pretty wise to it. Around 70%, which it's even going to get larger than that, have actually begun to be like, yeah, no, that's fucking bullshit. We know that Republicans are the ones who are in control of this shit. So y'all are the ones who should be governing. And besides, we've seen the clip going around where it was years ago in the past when Trump said that if there's a government shutdown, that should fall on the responsibility of the president. Uh-oh, guess who's the president? Him. And I think that many of people are fucking waking up to the realization of this here, is the fact that you are getting screwed over. You are not getting anything that was fucking promised to you. Now, I should mention this one here. Donald Trump got the ceasefire between Israel and Gaza. We'll see how long that lasts. I don't know. I've been kind of holding my breath and just watching to see how it all plays out. Because I'm like, Trump? Him? I'm like, we'll see. Well, I'm holding out. That would be nice. That will give him props. It will be nice if that truly comes to fruition and stays that way, but we'll see. But back to the matter at hand here is the fact that many of people, I think, are waking the fuck up into what has gone wrong. But I want to get back on topic. I apologize. Is the fact that this is what happens. You allow these people to be so hateful and get votes. Like people would always say, oh, character doesn't matter. Character does matter. Character does matter. To me, character means a lot. Especially when you've got these people, they're like, oh, he's a Christian. He's not a Christian, but even if he was, is that really Christian-like behavior? Separating families and calling people names and cheating on wives? Bullying tactics and dropping bombs? Is that really Christian behavior? You know, but this is what happens. If you allow these people to become popular by lying to you and just saying some of the worst things out there, it inspires. It inspires people to copy and paste and be like, you know what works? Hatred works. So therefore, I too must be hateful if I really want to get somewhere in life. When they see that it works, they copy the playbook. Trump copied Hitler's playbook, and they're going to copy Trump's playbook. And they'll make it their own. Which is why we need to put a stop to that. To make sure that people know you are not popular. We hate you. We do not want to see you. And we think that we are fucking full of shit. We hate you. We think you're disgusting. And you need to change the way that you are Republicans. Because this shit ain't working for you no more. You may have that House, Senate, and presidency, but nothing lasts forever, sweethearts. Eventually, you're going to get cut, getting out of office. It will happen. Your time will come.
I used to work for Turning Point USA, and let me tell you why I am just completely unsurprised by these texts that have come out from this Young Republicans group chat. These kind of organizations breed an environment where you are rewarded for being an asshole or it being a contrarian. For example, when I was on the media team at Turning Point as an intern the summer of 2016, we had a Latino man who was on our staff, and as a joke, some other people on the staff would threaten, like jokingly, like, oh, I'm gonna call ICE on you. And that's crazy, especially considering what's happening right now. Another time we were going to a Mexican restaurant, this was in Illinois, and a bunch of the people that I was with decided to put on MAGA hats to go into this hole-in-the-wall Tex-Mex place. They really just thought that this shit was funny. Everything to them is a joke. Like, this is just a perfect example of the memification of politics. There's no more decency, there's no more respect. It is all about engaging in inherently threatening rhetoric under the guise of free speech and trolling. Really, we don't need to be surprised. This is just a symptom of a political environment that rewards upping the ante and just going for more extreme conduct and rhetoric in the name of free speech, because it gets you attention, makes you look like you're opinionated, and that's rewarded in this environment. Being said, may not be surprised, but I'm glad that these people are being held accountable. Some of them have lost their jobs, and I think that's a good thing, because these are really deplorable and offensive views, and I really do think that they're being honest here with what they're saying.
Well, breaking fuck the news. Leaders of young Republican organizations and groups were worried if their text messages ever got released, but they said what they wanted to anyways. And yes, it was fucking racist. Leaders of the young Republican groups throughout the country worried what would happen if their Telegram chat got leaked, but they kept typing anyways. They referred to black people as monkeys and the watermelon people, and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. They talked about, I have to cover that, graping their enemies and driving them to suicide, and lauded Republicans who they believed support slavery. William Hendricks, the Kansas Young Republicans vice chair, used the N-word, variations of a racial slur, more than a dozen times in a chat. Bobby Walker, the vice chair of New York State, wrote Young Republicans at the time referred to grape as epic. Peter whatever the fuck this dude, whoever his name is, who at the time was the chair of the same organization, wrote in the same message sent in June that everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber. Fuckface's name was referring to an upcoming vote on whether he should become chairman of the Young Republican National Federation, GOP's 1,500-member political organization for Republicans between 18 and 40 years old.
Oh, no way. What? Republicans are total pieces of shit in their free time, too? It's not all just a performance? I'm so surprised. Yeah, so that's the news. They're just as big of losers behind closed doors as you expected them to be. A bunch of private Telegram chats just leaked between several young Republican leaders from just a few months. They are just as terrible as you would expect. I hope you have learned to expect this from them. It was, as you could probably imagine, a flurry of slurs and racial tropes. They talked about gassing their political enemies. Not to mention their chats of essaying enemies, driving them to end things themselves, and celebrating Republicans that they thought were into slavery. Remember when you guys were crying a couple of weeks ago, pretending to be upset about violent rhetoric just to get attention? Here's the thing. These are losers. Losers with way too much power, that's for sure, but they're losers. This kind of hate fulfills a personal need. This is about individuals that hate themselves so much that in order to feel just a little bit better about themselves, they have to find a way to hate everyone else just a little bit more than they hate themselves. But of course, if they were going to hate on the basis of character, moral substance, if they were going to base it on real reasons, well, that would just confirm what they already know, which is that they don't measure up. And they've been raised to equate a sense of security with a sense of superiority. So they gotta find someone somewhere that they can feel like they're above. But again, if you have nothing of value to offer as a person, well, then you gotta figure out how to make it so that what you were born as has inherent value. And instead of slinking off and maybe working on yourself or working out how not to feel so insecure about your mediocrity, which by the way, would be fine if you didn't make it everyone else's problem, you just get to work on your own delusion. So now you won't actually feel better about yourself, not in any sort of long-term or real way, but you might be able to convince yourself for long enough increments at a time to get yourself through the day. By dropping a slur or hateful epithet or talking about how much violence you'd like to enact on the people you perceive as enemies, anytime a little pinch of the feelies starts creeping through, and you start to realize once again how worthless you really are. You know what non-losers never have to do? Constantly convince themselves and those around them that they're superior based on something that they didn't even achieve themselves. And all this so you can all just pretend that you have something in common with each other, because otherwise you would have no idea how to make or maintain any sort of friendships. Such loser behavior.
Question? Politico reported on a group chat of a bunch of young Republicans. I'm wondering your thoughts on that, and does this reflect, is it just some bad young apples in this chat, or do you think that there's a toxicity around the entire party?
Some bad apples. These are the future of the Republican Party. This was so vile. It is hard to find the words to put into context that these are people who are part of a political party, one of two major political parties, and they believe in gas chambers and rape and discrimination based on the color of people's skins. These are racist, sexist, disgusting remarks. And I would say this. We have a leader from the Republican Party in this state, the highest ranking individual, who in the backdrop of all this calls our candidate for mayor, one of our candidates for mayor, a jihadist and a terrorist, and then somehow says, oh, what they said, these young Republicans, was wrong. Like, look at what you say yourself. Look at your inflammatory words. And maybe they have an effect on these young people, many of whom you support and have supported you. And you ought to just do a little re-examination of how far this has gone, where this is normalized enough that thousands of texts are uncovered. This is not one person saying they love Hitler. This is a whole lot of people saying things that are so disgusting and so abhorrent that everybody from the president on down should condemn them. And there's got to be consequences. Kick them out of the party. Take away their official roles. Stop using them as campaign advisors. There needs to be consequences. This bullshit has to stop. Thank you.
So, big story came out about the young Republicans, and a lot of them were in New York, Kansas, whatever, and their text chat got leaked, and it was a bunch of heinous stuff, man. There was a lot of hard R's, and There's this one text thread right here I'll show you, which is just disgusting, anti-Semitic, pro-Nazi stuff, right? People are up in arms about this. I'm not the one bit shocked. This is who these people are, man. They're losers, man. They're losers, and they always have been. It's not hard to see. You know, I think it's kind of funny. J.D. Vance is running, like, defense for him. And I don't know why. Well, let's be real. You look at the pictures of these guys, and you look at the pictures of J.D. Vance. He's one of them. He's exactly one of them. He's been raised up, groomed to be a politician, just like these kids. This is the future of the party. This is what, I mean, when I say these are worse than the last Republicans, I mean, no, it's about the same. This is what they've been. This is what people say behind closed doors. This is what it's about. J.D. Vance goes on. He said he hears worse about the Virginia AG. He's talking about Jay Jones. And Jay Jones is a piece of S, man. He sucks too. I don't care if he's a Democrat or not. You can't be putting text threads about offing people's children. That's disgusting, bro. I wish he would step down. I would not support that dude whatsoever. You know what I mean? I don't care what his background is. I don't care. That's disgusting. But it doesn't mean that you can't condemn both. Only reason why J.D. Vance is, you know, talking about this is because he wants to run defense, because he sees himself in them, and he wants to defend himself. You know, we gotta kind of get rid of this edgy humor thing. It's funny to have, like, some dark, edgy humor sometimes, but sometimes it's just gross and disgusting, man. You gotta know to walk the fine line. There is a point where some people might get offended over truth, and then there's some times where you're just telling jokes to offend people. It's totally different. They're trying to be jokey, but, you know, those jokes where it's, like, kind of true, but it's a joke. That's what it is, and hey, man, that's who they are. One little side note, too. Another thing that irritates me with these kinds of guys is that these are the guys who go around social media and be like, yeah, that girl's mid, when she's obviously beautiful, and the other one's talking about body counts and all this dumbness and just straight up misogyny, looking like the way they do. It's horrendous. I'm over it, bro. I'm over it. It's dumb.
Save the fucking apologies. The board of directors for the Young Republican National Federation issued a statement today saying we are appalled by the vile and inexcusable language revealed in the Politico article published today. If you don't know what they're talking about the exclusive new reporting from Politico today, where leaked messages exposed the Young Republicans' racist chat, where they actually also said they love Hitler. In this chat, they also referred to black people as monkeys and the watermelon people, and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. They even talked about raping their enemies and driving them to suicide, and applauding Republicans who they believe support slavery. William Hendricks, the Kansas Young Republicans vice chair, who by the way looks like this, used both variations of the N-word more than a dozen times in the chat. Bobby Walker, the vice chair of the New York State Young Republicans, who no joke fucking looks like this, referred to rape as epic. When they were talking about the Spanish coming to colonize the indigenous populations, they said the Spanish came to America and had sex with every single woman. One guy said sex. It was rape. He said epic. Peter Ginta, who at the time was the chair of the same organization, and yeah bitch, we put a name to motherfucking faces, was talking about an upcoming vote on whether he should become chair of the Young Republican National Federation, and he said everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber. PG, Peter Ginta, we only want the true believers. Can we fix the showers? Gas chambers don't fit the Hitler aesthetic. I'm ready to watch people burn now. We gotta pretend that we like them. Hey, come on in, take a nice shower and relax. Boom, they're dead. And it makes sense that they like the idea of gas chambers, because one guy said, he did say, my delegates that I will bring will vote for the most right-wing person. And then Peter Ginta said, great, I love Hitler. The bottom line is this, fuck the gaslighting and fake apologies. They're not sorry that they said it. They're sorry that it will cost them their future careers. This is exactly how they talk, think, and feel when the cameras are fucking off.
I can tell you as someone, as a older millennial who was a young Republican, who was involved in Republican politics from the Bush campaign to the McCain campaign, and then, you know, later in the Romney campaign up until Trump made me jump ship from the Republican Party. You may have disagreed with the politics of Romney or McCain or Bush or whatever, but this Political article that exposes the texts of the Kansas Young Republicans vice chair is really saying something. Now look, like racism has always existed, right? And racism has always existed in the Republican Party. But I can never think of a time when any person who I dealt with as a young Republican was so in your face racist. So in your face racist. The racism used to be more subtle. You know, the racism may have been like microaggressions. Never in the Romney or McCain campaign did I ever see any of this that the young Republicans nowadays are so freely and are so openly and brazenly texting to each other. I never saw this from anybody. I was propositioned sexually by a man at the 2004 Republican convention. That was pre-Grindr, right? That existed back then, 20 years ago, okay? Never did I ever see that. And to me, it's really showing you where this Republican Party is going. They accuse us of being radical leftists when it is them who the future of the GOP is actually jerking far to the right. And I don't mean just like right, I mean fascist right. Okay, I mean funny mustache man right. And frankly, it's concerning to me that our two choices will be the milquetoast Democrats and the fascist Republicans. Wow, we're in for a treat, aren't we? Because it's only going to get worse as these people get older and they start to have children, and then they start to influence their children. Okay, it's just going to get worse. And what damage Donald Trump has done to the party of Lincoln. It's a shame. That's all I can say.
Hey, it's Joe from Georgia. So, young Republicans across the country who are leaders of the organization in several states have been found out. Now, Telegraph is a messaging app that they used, and they put these posts out on Telegraph, and it's been exposed by Politico. Now, these young Republican leaders, as I said, now these are chairs, vice chairs, leaders of the young Republican Party that wanted to use the N-word constantly. Ones that praised Hitler. They said that they supported slavery. They wanted death to liberals. Now, folks, these people, young people especially, have been emboldened by the current atmosphere that has been created by the right folks. And when you're going out there saying that you support rape, you support racism, you support using the N-word, you support Hitler, you want death to liberals, those words are forever. So all of those people who put that out there, your names are going to be remembered. Now, you might be able to get a job with some very conservative group who they don't care what they say because they don't have any morals left. But folks, when you put that kind of stuff out there, supporting those things, you're going to be remembered for it. So I'd watch what you say, but you know what? It's just the way they feel, and that's who they are.
Did y'all see those texts from the young Republicans? I can't even say what they were saying on this app because I can barely say what I want to say anyways. But they were racist, sexist, talking about putting people in gas chambers, monkeys, watermelon eaters. Then we have JD Vance defending them, obviously. We have the people are actually calling out the person who leaked the text instead of the people in the text, calling him a traitor. And I saw one person on Twitter saying that these are the real patriots. The person who leaked the text is just a traitor. Like, whoa. We all knew like they were like this, but to see it like in 4K is always like a little bit more shocking than you would think. And then they wonder why we call them rhymes with Yahtzee.
I'm speechless. I'm speechless. These are leaders, right? These are people that will always say that black people are racist too. These people did not even mind that there is a day that will come that every single thing that they're actually doing will actually be leaked. They talked about how there were RAPE, black folks. They talked about how black people are literally seen as monkeys and watermelons. These are people we should be happy that they are actually doing something great in the community, right? These are people we should always clap for and say, yes, they got our back as black people. These are people that whenever they want to come out again for more election, we should be able to elect them and put them in seats because, yes, they can actually help us. If anybody should sit down and tell them that this is actually going to be leaked, they will not believe it. But how it happened, I don't know. How it got leaked, I don't know. But is this not God in action? It is God in action. And that is why I keep saying it. You see, as far as I'm concerned, I do not trust anybody. Anybody. I did not trust any single person with black folks. Because at the end of the day, it is more like history is about to keep repeating itself over and over again. They come as sheep in wolf clothing. They try to make us see reasons that they actually love us. They try to beat us and ask us not to cry. They try to make us scared and ask us not to tell anybody. They try to make us silence and smile within the public faces, hoping that everything will be all right one day. A group of people sat down, and the only thing they could do is to go ahead and start chatting and saying some nasty words relating to people that look like me. But there is one thing for sure, I keep saying it and I'll always keep saying it. Black people will rise, oh. Black people will not be in this condition forever. Black people will not be eating crumbs forever. I'll see you guys in my next one. Credit belongs to the original creators of every single clip we have in today's episode. And this is for educational purposes. Like, comment, subscribe for more. Bye, guys. Let me know your opinion in the comment section.